Yes, Capricorn, welcome again. I'm Dadhichi from Astrological.com.au with your January 2014 forecast. Happy New Year. And if you saw the trailer video, the introductory video that I just did talking about resolution, generally we have an idea of, New Year's resolutions being all about breaking those bad habits. We drink, we smoke, we spend too much money, we gamble, we have a ferocious temper, whatever. It can come in many, many different forms. But for you right now, it's, again, I'm going to depart from the traditional view of what constitutes a bad habit, what necessitates a New Year's resolution, by looking at where the new moon this week just took place, along with the cluster of 4 other planets. And that is occurring, as it does around this time of the year, in Capricorn. The Sun is in Capricorn. It's in what we call a partile conjunction, a close conjunction with Pluto, the revolutionary transformative planet. Uranus is the other transformative planet. That's in the other angle of the horoscope. You've got Mercury, that new moon, and Venus all cramming. It's like a celestial traffic jam in your sun sign. And this sun sign has everything to say about your identity. Now, how does that tie in with bad habits? Well, leave aside all those behaviors, the external behaviors that we normally say constitute bad habits. Let's look at what I would say now. I'm going to shift you into a different gear here. Just think along with me for a moment. That the habit of how we perceive ourselves is something we don't often look at. The question is, if you're taking for granted that you are who you are because that's the way you've always been, then it's not going to be all that easy for you to make that paradigm shift or transform yourself. And that has nothing even to do with the habit of smoking or drinking. Of course, ridding yourself of some of these activities are going to improve your health and your longevity. And when you go to kiss that new girl on the date or the new guy, if you haven't been smoking, they're going to enjoy kissing you a lot more. They're the practical sides of it. What I'm talking about here is more of a spiritual attunement with your true identity as a spiritual being. If you're constantly assuming that you are a physical being, then you're missing the very subtle component of your life. And I've got to say, being born under the sign of Capricorn makes this task a little bit harder because you're naturally gravitating towards a material existence, a sense of security. Capricorn is one of the 3 earth signs, predominantly concerned with security, financial improvement, so on and so forth. But that's a very limited view of the sign of Capricorn. It is actually quite a spiritual sign. It is, you are ruled by the very focused planet Saturn. Saturn is an important karmic planet. And for many Capricorns, especially those of you in the higher grades, who've evolved into a level of perception that is unique to just a very small percentage of the population, then you get it. You understand that, Saturn and the principle of focus, concentration, brings you into a new level of awareness. When you're focused on work, when it's done selflessly, not selfishly, when you have that creative impulse to do something, not for any sense of gain, but for the higher purpose of which Saturn, your ruling planet, is commissioned to work in your case, then you will make that shift and you will realize that the bad habit of perceiving yourself as simply a limited person in space and time is incorrect. It's only a very, very, very small part of the bigger picture. And this is what I want to say to you about your New Year's resolution. I want you to shift that perspective, at least broaden it a little bit. And you can do that during this new moon phase, up until the 16th, 17th, when the full moon takes place. I think what can happen here is that you've got an inkling of what's going on with what I'm saying, but it may be around the middle of the month when some conversation or someone, maybe of a spiritual nature, triggers that understanding. It has to be the aha moment, and that can happen when the full moon is in conjunction with a planet like Jupiter in the 7th house of public relations, dealing with other people. I know that sounded very long-winded. I hope you followed that. You're welcome to contact me here if you want a bit more elaboration on that. I think some of you may be more interested in what this actually means in terms of the practicalities of life. So for the next minute or so, I will talk about that. Having this strong focus of planets, especially having Mars, the ruler of your 11th and 4th sector, in the career sector during this phase is very, very good. It means that you've got the drive and energy to create something worthwhile. And when we talk about resolution, that resoluteness of will, you can indeed find yourself in the possession of a lot more physical energy to make that happen. So if you're starting a business, or you've got some fairly monumental tasks ahead of you, you can plough through these like a steamer through ice throughout the month of January. That's good news. So do join me next month. We'll continue this theme. I'll extrapolate a little bit more. In the meantime, you can get the monthly, yearly and even daily horoscopes on a day-by-day basis at astrology.com.au. That's my website. Lots of other free material there to help you in that paradigm shift we've been talking about today, Capricorn. Good luck, and I hope to see you here again next month. Bye.